Okay, I think everybody's probably joined that. Okay, thank you all for being here. I recognize most of your faces, those that I can see. Again, I'm Alicia Zimmerman. I'm with Fox Tuttle, so I'm handling outreach on this project, but I also have background on the technical side of it. And then Steve is also on the project team here, and he's the project manager, so he's very familiar with what we're doing. And the goal during this, the goal during this little breakout session is just to make it easier for people to ask questions, make everybody more comfortable. So you all are in a group of folks who are often a little bit more aware of what's going on broader level sometimes. So feel free to ask your questions. Steve and I are here to answer them. And everybody is welcome to unmute. I doubt we'll talk over each other too much.
So from what I saw, hi, I'm Peter McNutt. I live in Lakewood. I like to ride into Denver. Mm-hmm. And usually the way I go is down what you're calling 6th to 8th. Then I go down Weir Gulch to the Platte over to, I forget the name of the park, and then get on the 8th Avenue overpass.
Confluence?
Yes, so what I'm seeing is we'll be able to ride from Federal to the overpass on 8th Avenue, is that correct?
To the 8th Avenue overpass?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Peter, so this is Steve, just for clarification. You say the 8th Avenue overpass, that's the viaduct over the old rail yards? Is that what
yes.
Yeah, okay. I do need to point out, and Alicia, maybe you can confirm this, but the bike lane project just goes to Zunai.
Only to Zunai, okay.
Yeah, so there'll be a short distance right under the interstate where you'll be, as a cyclist, you would be in with traffic. There's not really a bike facility to get you all the way to the viaduct.
Right, so right now there's that long stretch down the hill from Federal to the Platte River, and there are no bike lanes. And I'm just asking, will there be bike lanes?
With the proposed design, yes, there will be bike lanes continuous all the way from Knox to Zunai.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it would come all the way down here. This is what you're talking about where Weir Gulch Trail comes off. It will be all the way down to here. Mm-hmm. And with a reminder that there are some challenging intersections that would have sharrows instead of bike lanes, but.
Right.
Yeah, good point, Alicia. Thanks for pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be a vast improvement over what there is.
But depending on how you get into Denver, I don't know if you're saying you come through Weir Gulch Park or if you go South Platte River Trail all the way up into Confluence Park or not, but.
Normally I go Weir Gulch to the Platte, and then I head south, and then I get back on, let's see, using your map. So I go under 8th Avenue, and then I take that little park there, and then get on the sidewalk, the southern sidewalk, and take the 8th Avenue viaduct.
Yep, I think you'll be pretty much connected then, because you come back in here then.
Right. Yeah, that'll be much nicer. Good, thanks.
And Steve, I know Gabby may talk about it afterwards too, but do you want to talk more about the bridge here too?
Yeah, Alicia, thanks for bringing that up. And I don't believe it was mentioned during the main presentations, but we, as a separate project with the city, we are planning to replace the bridge 8th Avenue over the South Platte River later this year, probably starting in October. And so we are coordinating our bike lane design with the new bridge. The new bridge will be wider. It'll have wide sidewalks on each side. It'll be a little bit higher to accommodate larger flows, flood flows in the river. And we're hoping, I don't know the overall project duration on that. I think they're hoping to wrap up mid to late 2022. And of course, during bridge construction, I think, I don't know for sure, but there will be partial and also at times full closures of 8th Avenue
Okay.
during that period, including the South Platte River Trail under the bridge. It's just a
Okay.
consequence of construction.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Thanks for being here.
any other questions? Jessica, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So a little while ago, I participated in the neighborhood transportation management plan for the La Alma neighborhood. And so I know there were some improvements proposed to 8th on that side. So it seems like there's going to be a gap between like Zuni and the other side of the, not this overpass with the Platte, but the overpass over 25, I think, or
Okay.
not 25, the rail yards, I think. Yeah, so because, you know, I don't bike this way very often, but I do drive this way, and I do see a lot of cyclists using this bridge because it's one of the few east-west connections to get from La Alma to the other side. And so I'm worried there's going to be a gap between like Zuni and some of those other safety improvements on the other side. Are there any plans at all to address that, or at least I'd like to bring it up just so it's
So
out
it's
there.
continued.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you know about projects to the east and where they end? I think the answer, Jessica, is yes. There's still working on that gap, but Steve may know more.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have a good answer. I can certainly take that question back to the team and see if there's anything we can do from Zuni east. I mean, the direction we were given was, you know, bike lane, Knox to Zuni, and we're good engineers, so we put our head down and we start to focus on our project. But there's a bigger picture here that we need to take into consideration. So yeah, thanks, Jeff, for bringing that up.
You know, I don't know if you can see here, if it's just showing, do you see the presentation now, or is it just showing the map?
It's just showing the map. Also,
Map.
hello, I got added a little bit late, but this is Hadar.
Oh, Hadar may have an answer.
I don't have an answer to this question, unfortunately. I think it would be a great one are we doing questions when we go back to the big room, or?
Yeah, we're just bringing back summaries.
There's a chance David might know, since he's on the planning team. He is probably our best bet within the group that we have today. And if not, that's definitely something that I'll take back and try to get an answer to.
So Jessica, I think now, can you hopefully see the map, the slide map that I have up? I think the dashed yellow part is the part that you're talking about. So okay. So the good thing is that that it's been identified and it's a known gap. The bad thing is that it's not built yet that I know of.
Yeah.
I was looking further to the east, and there is a pretty good side path. I don't know if it's full width yet or not, but there's at least, and actually, Peter, you may know if you ride in that way. Do you usually ride on the south side there, side path?
Yes, so using the 8th Avenue overpass, right on the south side.
Okay, so then it looks like it's not planned to have roadway improvements along there, but maybe enhancing the south side to actually be a full shared use path would be the plan.
Yeah.
So we can confirm that in the main room though.
That would help.
On the bridge, it kind of already is a shared use path. It was really cool. I was driving over there and I saw a dad with like 2 kids in the back of his bike, like biking over on that bridge. It was really cool. I just don't know where they went, because once you get down that bridge near the river and the freeway entrance and everything, I don't know where they go. So it's
Scary.
like a very tiny little gap there. Yeah, it is scary. So yeah, I was just curious if there's any, maybe not plans, but at least, you know, making sure it's out there.
Yeah,
that
not
there's-
ignoring it, right? Yep,
Yeah.
we will certainly bring that up. That's a good thing to point out. So
Yeah, thanks, Jessica, for bringing that up.
And kind of related to that, and this is my last comment, and then someone else can talk.
you're fine.
I know I said I usually drive that 8th Ave corridor, but I do bike around town also. And to be honest, I'm not as confident a biker as some people might be. So I don't know that I would necessarily use that bike lane on that 8th Avenue portion. The 6th Ave one obviously is great, but like with 2 lanes of traffic there, like I'm usually comfortable in a regular bike lane. It doesn't have to be protected for me to use it. But next to 2 lanes of traffic each way with a lot of trucks who are big and will probably drive in part of the bike lane because that makes them feel comfortable, right? Because they're driving these big trucks. I'm a little worried about the actual safety of this bike lane on that 8th Ave section between Federal and Zunai, especially with the sharrows at the intersections. It feels tight now, even in a car. So it just, with the lanes narrower and that bike lane, I'm not entirely sure that it's something that people who are not super confident cyclists would actually use all that much. And it's, I understand this project's design. I just kind of wanted, again, to provide that comment.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback. I think that's a really great point. And it kind of echoes a lot of what David was talking about in his presentation. And I think the really kind of unfortunate crux that we're looking at specifically on this 8th Ave section is that in its essence, this is really a repaving project that we've been lucky enough to get to add a bicycle facility on. And, it's not really the one that we want to put here. We know that there's a need for a protected bike lane and in the future, and it's going to take a lot more construction than what we're about to do now. But we recognize that need there. And right now, since the road is going to get repaved, whether or not we're putting a bike lane here. And so we're just trying to make it a little bit safer in the interim. And I know that it's not the best answer because I'm totally with you. If you're not a very comfortable cyclist, you're not going to be using this facility. And I totally understand that. But it's kind of how these paving projects tend to go.
Another thing that I'd like to point out in response to Jessica's concern, and I understand that I've walked this corridor and I bike in the city quite a bit, and it's pretty busy, there's no doubt. We're working with our partners at Denver Parks and Rec to hopefully incorporate some enhancements and signage to the Weir Gulch Trail, which is just 1 block north of 8th Avenue along here. And that will give cyclists who are perhaps a little bit uncomfortable on 8th Avenue, that'll give them an option.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, Peter, you mentioned you use that route right now. You said.
Right. That's the way I generally get down to central Denver.
Yeah.
So this is how you do it, Peter. You come up, up here, and then over here, and then down, and then back up, and then
around. Yes.
Okay.
That's one of the ways I go. Yes.
Sure. No, that's good to know. I mean, it's always good to have input from somebody who's doing it regularly on the most effective one you've found so far, given the constraints. So.
Right. And it might be kind of a chicken and egg sort of thing where if you do put in those bike lanes, maybe more cyclists will start riding that on 8th Avenue, and maybe the city will realize, hey, maybe we need to improve this stretch for other cyclists. So
yeah. Well, and I would say that that the city has moved away from designing. I think David even mentioned it, moved away from designing based on how many people are currently using it, and moved towards designing what makes a complete network so that people have those options. So
good.
Okay. And anybody from council office? I see a few of you on here. Any of you have a question as well? Nope. Okay.
Jessica,
All right.
Jessica, were you going to make another comment? I think you unmuted for a second. Do you have anything?
Sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with Peter's point that like
Okay.
hopefully this will encourage more cyclists to use it. And I love bike lanes. I want to see more of them. So it's yeah, but I'm worried that this one's not actually going to be used because it just might not feel
Right.
safe.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you both for your comments. We appreciate the input.
I think, am I still on off mute? I think we're about to jump back in. Let me double check here.
Yes, it is. It's 6:55, so I think it's
Okay.
about time.
Yep. Okay. So we can also manually jump back in, but they can pull us in here too. So
Thank you.
thank you all for being here too. So we're going to do just the last steps here in the main room. And so hold on, hang on tight. We'll be done by 7.
Thanks for your questions, everyone.
We're trying to wait to hear back from room 1. Make sure we don't just chop them off in the middle of a comment here. All right, here we go.